Oh, what a beautiful afternoon for a ride. Yeah, the sun is shining, temperatures are up, and the rain clouds have moved away. Definitely time to get the t-shirt and shorts on and flip on the flip-flops.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you're enjoying the channel and all the videos. Please like, share and subscribe and leave loads of comments below, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. So look, in this video I'm going to be talking about, yes, Harley Davidson riders of all shapes and descriptions. Of course, I don't care if you're in a club or not in a club, or an independent biker, or whatever you want to call yourself these days, who knows. Right, it is, should people who ride Harley Davidsons, do you know what, and any kind of bike, let's just widen this out a little bit, right, should they wear motorcycle protective clothing? Now, obviously it depends where you are in the world, whether this is mandatory, you know, let's say for a helmet, that kind of thing. I think in some countries they're trying to make jackets and trousers and boots mandatory as well, and gloves, etc. You know, but should Harley riders, you know, ride a little bit slower, you know, a little bit more cautious around the bends, all that kind of stuff, you know, especially if you ride in hotter temperatures, should you wear it? You know, do you need to wear all this stuff? Well, the simple answer is, well, yes and no. Okay, so let's not be, you know, asinine about it. If you fall off your bike, for whatever reason, the chances are you're going to get some kind of injury, especially if you're not wearing any protective clothing, a jacket or helmet, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, if you fall off and you injure yourself and you haven't got any of this stuff on, then you've only got yourself to blame. You can't blame anybody else. Regardless of the cause of the accident, you can't blame anybody else. But at the same time, it's your choice on what you do. Now, I used to run a motorcycle safety initiative for many years. It was called Heli Bikes, right? And I would give lots of information about how accidents, bike crashes occur, all the different scenarios that you could ever think of, and all the different injuries and fatalities and what caused them, and how motorcycle protective clothing and equipment works, and all that kind of good stuff. But what I always said to people, or to anybody on the website that I had at the time, was, look, I'm going to give you this information. It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to use it and how you ride. And that's my philosophy on a lot of things. You know, you can't preach to people, and you can't say to people, right, in any situation, this motorcycle protective clothing is going to work, because the counter argument to that, and this is what I would also say, I would bring the home truths from the accident scene to rider's front door, if you like, and I would say, right, this rider was wearing all the protection, all the leathers, all the pads, he had more shields than the Enterprise against the Klingons, and he still died, or they still had serious injuries. So why is that? Well, one of the big reasons is it doesn't matter what you're wearing, it's actually how you come off, at what speed you come off your bike or get knocked off or whatever it is. But more importantly, much more importantly, it's what you hit, what your body hits afterwards, and how quickly you decelerate. So let's say if I fell off the bike right now and I skidded down the road, yes, I'd have gravel rash, definitely. I may even have a couple of broken bones. But as long as I don't hit one of these trees at speed, or, you know, an oncoming car or something like that, the chances are I'm going to have, you know, a few scrapes, 3 bruises, you know, a bit of gravel rash, of course, and a very bruised ego, and very embarrassed because I've just been my bike, right? That's it. However, if I'm going really fast, then, and I completely lose it, then there's a much greater risk that I'll hit something hard at some point, or if I do hit something, I'll hit it harder, and that's where the injuries come from. Now, people say about motorcycle protective clothing, oh yeah, it's going to protect you all the time, you know, all the gear all the time. Absolute load of bollocks, absolute load of nonsense. If you believe that, you're a fool to yourself. And you can take that from me, who I've worked in frontline emergency services for 20 years, and I've gone to well over 1,500 motorcycle accidents, and I specialise in this kind of accident investigation, if you like. It doesn't work like that. What protective equipment does, it minimises the likelihood of having some kind of injury up to a certain point. There's a performance limit. So let's say the same with a helmet. If, let's say, you're doing 100 miles an hour and you come off and your head hits something hard, let's say, then your likelihood is you're going to die. Well, the chances you're going to die. If you hit something hard anyway, whether you have external bleeding, external, open, what we call open fractures, which bones protrude from the skin, let's say, you could still die of internal injuries. Okay, a very common instant fatality cause is when they call it what they call a ruptured aorta. Is that your heart bounces forward and backward in your body, well, all your organs do, and actually rips your main artery, your aorta coming out of your heart. That's it, you die, you're dead. There's nothing you can do. But for the onlooker looking at the rest of the corpse, unfortunately, they say, well, it all looks intact, the leathers are all hardly marked. Doesn't make a difference, you see. Same with helmets. So that's it. Now, so you can either wear all the protection and just be as protected as you can be, or you don't wear any protection and you take the risk of having any kind of injury, whatever it is, even at slower speeds. Now, if you're at slower speeds, even if you come off, the chances are you're not going to have very serious injuries, even if you're not wearing a lot of protective clothing. So if you take it to the extreme, the t-shirt, the shorts, the flip-flops, as long as you're riding really, really slow and you come off, you will get gravel rash. You probably might get a couple of broken bones or lose a finger or toes or whatever, but it shouldn't be much more than that. But if you have a collision with another vehicle or something hard, then everything ramps up. Okay, that's the way you got to look at it. Now, the way I would always say to people, say, right, if you don't want to wear the ultimate in protective clothing and armor and helmet, full face helmet, all that kind of stuff, okay, that's up to you. But then ride accordingly to compensate for the reduced protection that you have. Don't hoon around as if you're you're Valentino Rossi or whatever. Ride sensibly. Ride in proportion to the speed and the risk associated with that speed, the traffic density, the road conditions, the type of road that it is. All that kind of thing is absolutely necessary for you to factor in. So if you're a Harley rider and you're just pootling around and you want to wear an open face helmet, let's say, well, do you know what? I wear an open face helmet a lot of the time. The only reason I wear a full face helmet, like today, is because I do a lot of recording. That's the only reason I usually wear an open face helmet these days. But if I'm not doing any videoing, I prefer an open face helmet, especially on shorter distances. Longer distances, I tend to wear a full face and that's to offset fatigue and everything and noise. You see. So it's your choice. Do I wear the best leather jacket? No, actually, as a material, I don't like leather. I don't think it's versatile enough for my kind of ride. I wear textiles, but I do wear a jacket. But it doesn't have to be a big motorcycle jacket if you don't want it. You could have a big padded jacket. The big old really thick jackets from years ago with extra padding. Add a few jumpers underneath. It's just as good. Really, yeah. Look, it's nice if you got elbow armor, shoulder armor, a back protector, and all that kind of stuff. It does, because if you do fall off, then you've got a little bit of protection. But I'm under no illusion that it's not going to protect me, totally. There's no such thing. There are too many people who are out there and still to this day believe that all protection is going to be like some magical force field, and it's irrespective of what they're riding or how they're riding. Then you got the other people who will say, nah, it doesn't make a difference, you know, whether I'm riding it, wearing it or not, so I'm not going to wear it. Well, they're both wrong. You know, they're both wrong. They're factually wrong. So I can back this up with facts. I can back this up with statistics. I can back this up with first-hand experience of dealing with these kind of injuries. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So let's say if you're wearing full leathers, full race leathers, and you come off in this kind of scenario here, forget about these two cars going by right now, and you fall off. Well, actually wearing full leathers is going to give you the best protection, because they're the most wear resistant against the road, you see. And you might tumble and you might slide across the floor. So you might find you get the best resistance against road rash. But actually some textiles are really good now. You get the Dragon jeans, the Kevlar jeans, they're not so bad. But don't forget, you might have exposed parts of your body. Let's say your jeans or your trousers aren't zipped or connected to your jacket, so your jacket rides up as you're sliding along and you'll get gravel rash all over your back. So there's lots of different things here to consider. But why do people have motorcycle crashes? Okay, it's not always the other rider or the driver or whatever. You know, a lot of bike accidents are caused by the rider themselves. It's the way they're riding, the lack of anticipation. They're not factoring for the hazard that is out there. So there's lots of reasons why accidents happen. This is not what this video is about. This video is you as a Harley rider. Do you wear all the protective clothing? And for me, it's about the right choice at the right time. And also, you know, it's about if you're not going to wear all this stuff, then ride accordingly. You know, protect yourselves even more. But if you do come a cropper and you do have some kind of injury, then, you know, you can't really blame anybody else. If there was a better alternative out there, you run the risk. You run the risk, and unfortunately, whatever system you are, wherever you are in the world, you know, whether your own private insurance is going to help you out or whether the state helps you out, that's a burden, you know, a financial burden for everybody else or for yourself. But you've got that responsibility. What I would always say about not accident prevention, or certain, well, they go hand in hand. If you don't have an accident, you're not going to have injuries. As simple as that, isn't it? Right? So, if you, let's say, invest your time, your money not in protective clothing, or the best protective clothing, or spending another £200 or $300 or whatever on the finest protective jacket or trousers or padding or knee sliders or gloves or whatever, but you just bought normal everyday stuff. But what you did, you actually invested more money and time in better training, better road sense, riding sense, and analysing where accidents happen. You know, really thinking about how you're riding, focus on your ride as opposed to how other people are driving, and then just focus on all the things that could cause an accident, all the issues affecting drivers, so on and so forth. If you affect that, then you'll never, you know, you very rarely be in a situation where you'll have an accident. Very rare. I mean, it's rare as it is, although, you know, there's lots of stories about motorcycle crashes and all that. If you think about it, statistically, it's still quite rare. But there is no doubt that if you ignore all those things, you still ride around like a loon, let's say, you ignore, you know, the abilities and the deficiencies and the limitations that face drivers. You know, if you ignore all that, or you expect everybody to do exactly as you would want them to do, life doesn't work like that. You've got to think of the unexpected. And this is what I say on about, you know, about having accidents. Accidents are totally preventable in the most part. 99.9% of all accidents Well, they're not accidents, they're collisions. There's no such thing as an accident, because there's always some reason why a crash occurred. Somebody at some point made an error, and that's right. It's whether you factor that error, whether you can react in that time to avoid that error or the consequences of that error. So when you're looking at injuries and when you're looking at motorcycle protection, actually it's irrespective of what you're riding. But let's face it, if you're going to ride a sportier bike and you are going to ride faster, then do yourselves a favour. If you are going to do all the right stuff, do all the research and factor for your riding and others driving, still, because of your speed, you want to wear better protection, or as best as you can. If you're going to ride a lot slower, let's say, let's say as Harley riders, we're a little bit slower perhaps, but look, I can still chug along on here, no problem. Right, so that's a bit of a fallacy as well, because we, just because we ride a Harley doesn't mean you're going to go slow. I know I've been chugging along today at not much of a pace, but you get my drift. Then you may want to, investigate in the kind of protective clothing that would work for you, will work best for you. And let's not forget, one of the big things about motorcycle protection is that you've got to be comfortable when you're riding. There's no point in having 10 layers of clothing on and you can't move on the bike, because you might be protected, but because you can't move, you're going to have a crash anyway, because you can't be, you can't even move. Well, it's self-defeating, isn't it, really? So you've got to be comfortable. You've got to be cool when it's hot and warm when it's cold. All these kind of things, that's what you need to do. Anyway, I'm gonna stop bleating on about this. As we know, hotter temperatures, people like to undress, and I'm not here to preach to you to say whether you should wear clothing or not. That's entirely up to you. If people want to wear short sandals and flip-flops or whatever and ride their bike, hey, entirely up to you. But if you're out on the highway, let's say, and you're just wearing a t-shirt or whatever, hey, unless you've got sun cream on, you'll also get sunburns as well. Let's not forget about that. So the thing is, people never think in their heart of hearts they're going to have an accident or crash, and they also think that if they do have a crash, it's not their fault. And if they also think if they do have a crash, they'll be protected at all costs. Nothing will ever happen. It won't happen to me. Tragedies only occur to other people. That's the mindset, and that's the mindset you've got to get out of. You've got to think, at any point something can happen to me, at any point something can go wrong on the road, at any point you've got to be ready for it. And that's where it is. Now, if I'm riding faster, guess what? I'm not doing this with my hand. I know what a lot of you are thinking. Guess what? I'd be having two hands on the handlebars and I'd be in control completely. If I'm going a lot slower, yeah, I've got a bit more time. If you notice, I'm not right up behind the vehicle in front. I've got lots of time and space for me to make a decision, to react to anything that's going on. And that's the way you've got to ride. Ride defensively, ride to the conditions, ride to the traffic density, ride to the road, ride to your limitations, your experience. So many inexperienced riders get themselves into trouble because they don't know how to ride their bikes properly. And they might be very skillful, and they might be thinking, oh yeah, I can do pop a wheelie here and there, but yeah, at some point they're going to come off, or they'll die or have serious injuries. That's the risk you run. That's your risk, not my risk. It's your risk. Anyway, let's say I just ride. I wear normal stuff. A lot of the time I wear just normal jeans. I've got Kevlar jeans on today, but I always wear some kind of jacket. It doesn't have to be a motorcycle jacket, but I'll wear something over. But if I'm not, let's say, I really go slowly, 10, 15 miles an hour cruising. I go very much for a cruise. Okay. Anyway, I hope this helps. Hope you found it useful. It's a good discussion point anyway. Leave loads of comments below. Please like, share and subscribe. Leave loads of comments. Check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know about this whole motorcycle safety culture, about the puritanicals out there who believe that you should wear all this stuff. What about those who don't believe in it? Maybe they say, no, I'm never going to wear that rubbish. You know? What about that? You know what they say? You know what they say? They say there's no such thing as an atheist on a battlefield. In other words, when it happens to you, let's see what you think about it then. And I'll leave you with this. The amount of people that I've been to, amount of motorcycle riders that I've been to over the years that have completely 180'd their opinion on protective clothing, on how they ride after their accident, you would not believe. You would not believe. So there we go. I'll leave that with you. Catch you on the next video whenever it is. Ta-da now.
RevelatorAlf.